What's going on, reality hackers? It is Michael. Just a reminder, go ahead and hit that bell, hit that subscribe button if you want to be notified for future videos. Today, I'm super excited. We're going to be talking about how to unlock flow state in your business. We're going to be talking more and more about business on this channel, as one of the things that we've been doing at Reality Hacker for the last 7 years is helping businesses of all kinds, coaches, consultants, service providers, e-com, affiliate, scale their company to 5, 6, and 7 figures a month. And so today we're going to be talking about unlocking the secret of flow state in your business, not just once, not just twice, but consistently, and giving you a framework to really find that fundamentally. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're not in flow around your business, you're not in clarity. And if you're not in clarity, you're not in momentum. And if you're not in momentum, do I have to keep going, right? This is not about the world. This is about ourselves. We want to situate and rearrange ourselves in such a way that we have such an emotional resilience and connection to ourselves that we can go throughout the day and occupy states of consciousness at whim's sake, right? That's the goal here, to have such a reign over our own emotional state, over our conscious state, over all of the different states in our body that we can access literally throughout the day. And honestly, I would tell you, if there was another term for the journey of manifestation, I would say, that term is coming to know yourself. So when it comes to unlocking flow states in business, one of the first things that we want to do, if you haven't done, I've got my handy dandy whiteboard here, right? The first thing we want to do is we want to focus on your ZOG, right? Your zone of genius. Now, your zone of genius is ultimately where you function the best, right? We like to look at Reality Hacker like business as art, right? You are an artist painting on a canvas. That's how I look at Reality Hacker. That's how I look at product creation. That's how I look at audience creation, right? I am an artist and I'm painting on a canvas. And ultimately, as an artist, I have different specialties. I might be specialized in black and white charcoal, right? I might be specialized in pastel, right? I might be good at video design. I might be good at music. I might be good at, right? I might have different parts of my personality that work better, that flow better than others, right? In my case, it tends to be communication, getting messages across, and ultimately vision casting for the company, making sure teams are okay, empathizing with my team, making sure that, right? I'm very personal. I'm a very people person. My zone of genius is that I communicate, and I communicate well. And it's also that I support and that I ultimately uplift and I take people to where they need to go, right? That's a big piece of my own personal zone of genius, right? I'm not the best email copywriter, although I can do that if I need to. I am not the best, landing page designer, although I can do that if I need to, right? All those things can be done, and they do need to be done to a degree, depending on the type of business that I'm running, especially if I'm running something online. But ultimately, I need to focus on where I am the strongest, where my strengths are the highest, and focus on that as a foundation point, right, for taking things to the next level. So if you'll notice, a large part of our strategy, Reality Hacker, is obviously content driven, and this is why you see me a lot, because that's my zone of genius. This is my focus, right? Delivering value to you in such a way that you actually get tangible results from that, you glean new revelations, and that you come deeper into our funnel, right? For example, my co-founder, Dave, right? He's the one that does all the design. That's his zone of genius. He's very introverted. He loves people, but he loves design, and he's amazing at design. If you look at any of our branding, that's all the work of Dave, right? That's his zone of genius. Jen, our executive director of coaches, she's a people person, right? She works with all of our coaches. She works with all of our people. She focuses on her zone of genius. Our virtual assistant, Zyra, right? She is a very analytic, data-driven person. So she handles a lot of tasks that involve regulating and analyzing data. Our head of marketing, right, Dustin, he takes care of all of our advertising. He takes care of marketing strategies. He helps us put strategies together, and that's his focus. So everybody inside of the organization, there's a lot more that I didn't mention, but everybody has their zone of genius. So here's the thing, right? If you're finding, especially if you're a one-man band or a one-woman band and you're running your business, you need to figure out what your biggest strength is and really just go hard in that, because what's going to happen is that as you begin to focus there, you're going to get traction, you're going to get results, you're going to start to see movement in regards to customers and prospects coming towards you, as long as what you are doing with that zone of genius is framed in such a way that it's actually supporting people coming deeper into your container, your experience as an organization. Now, the second thing here, okay, it's about following joy, because the truth is I've coached a gazillion different entrepreneurs, and very rarely, long-term occupations in positions inside of a company that are not joyful ultimately will result in the shutting down of your company. Because here's the thing, right? You may not like to cold call, but there are people that do. There really are people that get off on cold calling. You may not like to send emails, but there are people that do. And here's the thing, right? Following your joy doesn't mean that you don't follow the things that don't make you happy. Sometimes I will say that things being done are beneficial for your company, regardless of the state that you're in. I 110% believe that outcomes follow consciousness, but I also do believe that there is something to be said about consistency and committing to a task that you know in the long run benefits you, your welfare, the welfare of your organization, the welfare of your employees, even if it's not the highest joy that you have. And if it's not the highest joy that you have, then it's your job to become resourceful as a CEO and find somebody who does have that as at least a higher joy than you. And then how you approach that from that point is totally up to you, right? Because you can absolutely work out all sorts of negotiations. You can work out an equity negotiation. You can work out a revenue share negotiation. You can work out a fee up front with profit share on the back end. There's a million different ways you can build relationships and build a team of people who will get to work and be on board with the vision that you have. And this is really, really important, because while you're doing that, again, we're going back here, we're kind of consolidating point 1 and point 2 about your zone of genius, right? And following your joy. These things are compounding on each other, right? These things are compounding on each other. Stepping into your zone of genius, following your joy. Ultimately, the third thing here is ultimately knowing your vision, right? If you don't have a vision, your company is going to perish. If you're not going, how can you get anywhere if you don't know where you're going? Right. And I get that, that applies, or should I say it doesn't apply more so on our spiritual journey. But what I will say is that if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have goals that are set up with metrics that you've put in place to meet them, then it doesn't. Knowing your zone of genius, following your joy, that's awesome, right? But it's not going to be as directed. It's not going to be as potent, right? Because when you're stepping into your zone of genius with a very specific purpose, when you have a very specific reason for doing the things that you do, you can measure progress and objectives very easy. If you're kind of just doing things by the wayside, seeing what works, what doesn't work, you can't track your progress, which means that when you do fail, because you will, you're not going to know why you failed. And so if you don't know why you failed, you're not going to be able to understand what you need to do to actually succeed next time, right? It's okay to fail, and we need to get over the fear of failure. A lot of people come to this space because they're afraid of failing, they're afraid of lack, they're afraid of losing everything. We have to get over that fear of failing, because dude, I have failed 100,000 times. I've succeeded 10. Right? And I believe that those 100,000 failures contribute to my 10 major successes. Obviously, numbers are rhetorical, but I think you get what I'm saying here, right? You have to understand the vision for your company. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is your purpose? And here's some really good advice. If you can't say what you do concisely in 2 sentences, it's not clear enough. And if it's not in 2 sentences or less, it's going to be very hard to persuade the people that you are trying to get on board with you to get on board with you, right? We raise the consciousness of the planet and the humans that are on it. Bam, ka-chow, right? We show people how to hack their reality. Bam, ka-chow, right? We show people how to transform their lives leveraging resources that they already have. Bam, ka-chow, right? We help people instill an identity of infinity and then show them how that translates into the world around them, right? We help people transform their lives through philosophy, health, fitness, wealth training, business creation, all the good stuff. Something here, right? Point number 4 is we want to align our state of consciousness with the fulfilled vision, right? We're not getting out of the law here. We need to be going to bed every night, falling asleep in the state of the fulfilled vision for your business. But here's the catch-22, right? If you don't have a vision, how can you fall asleep in the wish fulfilled? You can't, right? We have to know where we're going because you are the creator, right? Just like everybody else around you, you are the creator. You are the totality of the universe experiencing itself subjectively, and vague intentions give you vague outcomes. Vague intentions, vague outcomes. Specific intentions, specific outcomes. Honestly, really need to get rid of this fear of being specific, of having specific objectives in mind and tackling them as many times as we need to. This is not about getting it right the first time. This is about putting the fundamental principles in place so that I can fail and take that failure in such a way that I use it to build towards my success. Because too many people fail once, they fail twice, and then they give up and they quit and they never do it again. And honestly, that's the dumbest thing you could do. It really is. Because you're literally an infinite being experiencing itself subjectively. And just because you don't feel that right now, it doesn't mean it's not true. And the only person you do a disservice to by not actually pursuing what you want is yourself. Sure, you're short-sighting a ton of other people who could be impacted by your vision, but ultimately you're short-sighting yourself. You're short-sighting your own fulfillment. Like, take it from me. Foster kid who dropped out of college, graduated with a 3.3. I've built multiple global companies. I've built the life of my dreams. I'm very happy. And it's all because I was too stubborn to believe what other people said. I was too stubborn to give up, right? I'm too stubborn to give up. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to be too stubborn to give up on yourself, okay? So once you have that vision, once you have the vision of where you're going, you can align your state of consciousness with that. And that ultimately compounds on the previous three. Zone of genius, following your joy, knowing your vision. Because if you are aligning your state with a fulfilled vision, that state is full of the joy that you have in doing what you love successfully, and ultimately you doing what you love from your zone of genius. The really amazing thing here is that once you do all these, once you step into your zone of joy and you commit to your zone of genius, you commit to following your joy, you understand your vision, and you align your state of consciousness with your vision, all of a sudden flow states become natural, right? And we like flow states because flow states are full of clarity. They're full of solutions. They're full of all of the resources. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you. The resources that we need, right? When we shift our state of consciousness, we're not creating something, right? We're just revealing something new. You are literally an infinite being having a finite experience. So if you give yourself the courage to shift your state of consciousness completely, what you see will change. And I can guarantee you, if you commit to these 1, 2, 3, 4 concepts and principles, this last one here, boop, this sense of flow states becoming natural, they will become natural and you will begin to succeed. And so this is a very high level overview of some deeper training that we do with our clients, but ultimately flow states are really important for us. They're really important for our clients because there's so many things that we don't know in business. And because we're an infinite being experiencing itself subjectively, we want to place ourselves in a place where we can receive everything that there is to do and know and understand so that we can take the steps necessary to move into the reality or the physical tangibility of fulfilled manifestation, okay? So if this interests you, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, share it. I want to hear where you're at. If you're starting a business or if you own a business, comment below. I want to hear what kind of business you run. Let's go back and forth. I'd love to give you some tools, some advice, maybe some hints on what you can do to get closer to where you want to go, because that's what this channel is all about. We've been doing this for over half a decade now, with many more decades to come. Thank you for joining us today. Questions, comments, feedback, love, do your thing. If you hate me, do your thing. We love seeing you. We love hanging out with you, and we'll talk to you soon.